Pheasant Productions presents the math of ESP, why it works even if you don't believe in it. Occupy International Space Station, Operation Occupy International Space Station, why it makes sense, and more importantly, why it is legal for me to declare such an action and such an operation, okay? As I've stated, you do not have any data that falsifies what this shows, okay? Your planet is in major, major trouble. The spiritual realm, Revelation 2:17 down here, folks. The gods exist. I hear them. They talk to me. I talk to them. We discuss stuff. They give me information, data to follow on your planet. Whatever. It doesn't matter. If you're a human being, you're not bigger than a god. Please keep in mind that the legal definition of a god is something beyond your imagination. So you cannot, under any circumstances, control such a being. Okay? You do not own it. You do not tell me what can or cannot exist, because you cannot walk the spiritual realm. Okay? If you want to come onto the spiritual realm and argue whether or not a certain god or deity or spiritual entity or energy pattern or whatever exists, please feel quite free to do so. I'm always available. Okay? I will hear it. Part of me will exist up there, okay, in whatever area of the realm. Whatever, it doesn't matter, okay? Keep in mind, those of you that want to start screaming, I am insane, psychiatry is only about 100 years old. Psychiatry cannot prove itself. Psychiatry is an entire employment operation based on two things. One, a personal opinion. Two, a link with the big drug pharmacy groups who created drugs. Actually, first they created product to sell that created problems that psychiatry then named and classified. Then the big pharma went ahead and made drugs that theoretically are supposed to help those problems that they have created by introducing poisonous chemicals. Okay, again, this whole thing here. Okay, I have chemical factories on this list. I should also put medical, because one of the big important things you need to understand, folks, is there's millions of viruses and bacteria all over your planet. Okay, all of that is mixing in this. All of this causes mutations that humans do not control. Understand now? Yeah. You have millions of variations of possibilities on a single virus, because you have a humongous soup, don't you? And what's happening on, say, the East Coast of the United States, that exact same virus over on, say, the Western Pacific, East Coast of the Asian continent, could be a totally different environment with a totally different toxic soup and produce totally different results. When you add in the fact that your medical, especially in the United States and Europe, has been so dumping of toxic antibiotic stuff into the systems and farming industry and all of that, and into people themselves, that you literally are creating your superbugs, which are bacteria and viruses that are resistant to anything you medically know how to make. So you are creating toxic soup that you literally cannot undo, and you are creating toxic soup that is creating viruses and bacteria that are airborne, waterborne, fishborne, birdborne, rodents and rats, you name it. You don't have any way of saying what's going to be the transportation device, okay? Now keep in mind too that, like I say, because of my connection with the spiritual realm, when they told me in 1960, when they told me this is your contract, this is what you were brought into the life of a human being on this planet for. When we need you to, you will throw the switch that starts the planet's recycling processes and begin cleaning up the mess these humans have made of it. That was 1960. Obviously, you know, at this point in time, you've got so much pollution and it's going to kill you all that it's pretty obvious that, if nothing else, you know, the idea that I'm going to live to see human beings die is like in the 99% range right now of being a absolute true prophecy. Okay? So again, your legitimacy is falsified by the fact that, you know, for 58 years I have known that the humans are going to kill themselves no matter what I try and do. You have reached that point. I have, for decades, offered something different. My International Space Station does incorporate my miracle mindset. I knew the humans would be arrogant and not pay attention. They would become physically, egotistically enraptured with the idea that they had money, which was an imaginary creature of human beings. Okay, and also, by the way, because this is the byproduct of corporations and it is murdering the planet, no corporation has the right to obtain profit at the life of any other living thing on this planet. Grass does not get executed because some corporation wants to make a profit. You might make weed killer so that you can go and kill stuff, but if you've got something like Roundup, which gets so continuously toxic down the line that you have to increase other things' resistance by GMOs to survive against it, you're obviously working against the life of the planet, which means you are contemplating murdering every life form on the planet. Therefore, you are, having created all this, now a murderer. Corporations do not have the right to be a murderer. Governments do not have the right to be a murderer. Governments are incorporations, i.e. we incorporate these 13 states to make a new nation. Okay, you incorporate it. The thing is governments are in business to make money. The United States is the wealthiest country. Europe is. Britain, the empire that the sun never sets on. Yeah. It's all about greed, ego. Okay? So this is an act of murder. This is an act of killing. This is an act of disrespect. Human life takes precedence. So I have every legal right to obtain all of this. I have every legal right, and any life form on this planet, whether it's a whale or a human being or an ant or a mosquito, has a right to argue that this is more viable and more legally legal than this list. Okay? So the Donald Trump people who think that murder is okay and suicide is, proper, and government should force people to suicide all the time. You got a problem, okay? Like I said, psychiatry is very old. It's based on being part of everything else, and it's coming up quite clearly that they have invented so many names and so many problems, and people just, oh, I'm bipolar. It's a bad day. I have to go get drugs, so I'm not bipolar today. Life is not this like straight line, folks. Okay. Corporations like straight lines, but yeah. Okay, so you keep your psychology BS out the door. It's not old enough to be intelligent yet. It doesn't know how to look at the whole world, the ramifications of a whole being. They don't know how to look at the whole of the spiritual side of a human being and understand anything. But they can run around and tell you that, oh, you're insane, you need to be on my drug. And then the big corporations are giving them kickbacks because they're putting money in their pocket for telling you to go buy the corporation's drugs. Yeah, it's called a monopoly, folks. That's why the United States is not allowed to try me or anything I'm involved in, because the United States has declared that the torture of my arm didn't really exist. They tried to bury that. I have factual evidence that it does. It is ongoing. My ISS, of course, is quite a marker of ingenuity and of peace activism, something they have really tried to hide. Why would you hide peace if you're a democratic society? You would want all people to have a say. Therefore, you would have the internet up in space on systems that cannot be regulated by Google, by China, by USA, by Sinclair. Okay? You would have a very free internet to talk to the whole planet, made its message and its transportation device, as the internet is, for the whole planet. But no. You want to regulate who can know and what they can see and all that. And if you look, you know, there's what, some 2,000 secret spy agencies in the United States government. You hear about FBI, CIA, NSA. You don't hear about all those other little ones, do you? Yeah. It's called paranoia. Ooh, I'm sorry, that's psychology. The governments are paranoid that people might think. Yeah. So that's what I say. The mindset I needed here, I needed a miracle because I knew you were going to have the Fukushima. I put the energy behind it. I watched the motions happen. I had faith that, you know, when I needed to step up and try and do something with the International Space Station, it would still be there. And I got it 35 years later. Now, I have watched it grow through a lot of things. I have kept a back foot and I have simply pushed energy at it, rather than being in there, actually being on the list of doing so. The problem the United States has is they've always said that it was a group of people. You can't have everybody at a table all at the same time. You go, Eureka! Because it doesn't happen. Okay, you would first of all have to admit to telepathy at that point. Somebody had to be the originator. I'm the originator. I started it. My whole story is on the internet and elsewise. It has always been an international object, so it is not. It was started with 7 different countries, therefore it is not possession of the United States. The United States has no legal right to claim it, and I, as creator of it, have the right to take it back over and bring it back to what it is originally intended for, which is the hopeful preservation of the human species long enough that we either figure out how to fix the planet or the planet heals itself, and in 100 million years you can come back and move on to the planet again. Edgar Casey, Greening of the Planet, all these various visions and things. People, oh, it's going to be so beautiful. Yeah. Unfortunately, because they are people that only once in their lifetime crossed into the spiritual realm, and with the exception of Casey, he was in and out quite a bit. Most all of that makes a big mistake. It is very hard to get timing of a prophecy. Okay, you might see something, feel something because it's imminent. Okay. I'm sleeping, I have a dream about, somebody, walking up and putting their hand out and wanting money from me. I wake up, I come walking in, like, what the heck was that all about? The phone rings, I pick it up, and I've got some salesman trying to sell me, hey man, we want you to give us 100 pesos so that we'll pray to, some piece of rock for you or some plastic Jesus for you. No thanks, dude. Bye-bye. Okay? Yeah, my life is really that complicated at times, folks, where you don't understand how much I got to listen to when you deal with 3,260 gods. So, but needless to say, the legal aspect is the United States doesn't own it, the United States doesn't control it, the United States is acting as a militaristic murder system, the corporations are against it and are dissolving. Any corporation that is not working for the environment and for the survival of this planet is therefore considered by all legal ramifications to be aiding and abetting a criminal in the criminal action. Therefore, the masses in the United States who are talking about, oh no, we don't have to worry, you are advised, you are accomplices to a criminal action.